Today, I will tell you about Adam Grant's book, Think Again. This is a thought-provoking work that challenges our traditional views on knowledge, thinking, and inherent beliefs. In daily life, have you ever changed your mind? When you changed your mind, do you think that you are showing inconsistent ideas in front of others? Are you afraid that you will lose your identity? For example, I used to think that it was natural for parents to raise children and for children to follow their parents' ideas. Until I read Gibran's to children. They came into this world with the help of you, but not because of you. Because life will not retreat nor stay in the past. After seeing this, I suddenly realized that I should be more virtual and creative, instead of taking the path chosen by my parents for me. Changes in our ideas like this do not mean that the person is fickle, because people are made up of countless past selves, and the environment will greatly affect people's way of thinking. As we grow up and see more and more people or things, there are inevitably views that conflict with our current ideas. We should learn to keep learning and update our ideas. Otherwise, what is the differences between an 80-year-old man and a 3-year-old child? In Think Again, Adam Grant mainly discusses why we need to rethink and how we should rethink. The core idea of this book is that, in today's fast-changing world, rethinking and unlearning may be the most important skills. He explains how changing your previous views is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of wisdom and personal growth. Therefore, we cannot let current beliefs and assumptions hold us back, especially when these beliefs become part of your identity. This topic is actually very helpful to us because this book shows how to develop the ability to rethink and how to use this ability to make better decisions in personal and professional life. Rethinking makes us more resilient by admitting that we may be wrong. The role of deep thinking in personal development is manifested in many aspects, such as dealing with challenges, improving the quality of decision-making, strengthening personal relationships, and updating ideas. It helps us better understand problems and find effective solutions. Next, I will talk about the three main ideas of this book and how these ideas challenge and change our thinking. The first is cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility refers to an individual's ability to quickly adjust and change their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors after receiving new information. It emphasizes adaptability and openness, and is the key to success in a complex and changing environment. Grant used a lot of psychological research to demonstrate the benefits of cognitive flexibility. For example, he cited research on mental side and cognitive rigidity, which show that people often fall into inherent thinking patterns, resulting in their inability to respond flexibly when facing with new problems. Grant shared cases of companies and individuals who achieved success by maintaining cognitive flexibility. For example, he mentioned that Bridgewater associations avoid failure by cultivating a culture of extreme transparency and extreme openness within the company, responding flexibility to market changes and adjusting strategies. Cognitive flexibility is a very good ability to face constant change. It allows us to adapt to changes and better cope with uncertainty in learning and working. It allows us to look at problems from multiple angles and create more diversity solutions, which help us solve complex problems. The second is think like a scientist. The scientist's main side advocates an open, experimental, and verification mentality. Scientists usually propose hypotheses when faced with new problems and verify them through experiments rather than try to improve them their preconceived views are correct. He cited the discussion of confirmation bias, which is only looking for evidence to support one's own views in scientific research, emphasizing the importance of scientist thinking. Examples of companies and organizations were discussed, such as Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, who is known for his bold innovation and rapid interaction strategy. They continue to experiment with battery technology and autonomous driving systems, and quickly adjust product design and production strategies based on experimental results, which not only helps Tesla maintain its leading position in the field of electric vehicles, but also drives changes in the entire industry. This mentality enables individuals and organizations to make continuous progress, draw conclusions through experiments, rather than rely on fixed beliefs, and people are able to more objectively evaluate and optimize their practices. The third is to embrace the joy of being wrong. Overconfidence often traps us in the trap of self-righteousness, causing us to ignore new information or obscene options. Grant suggested that accepting that we may be wrong and learn from it can better promote personal growth and innovation. Using the psychological theory of cognitive arrogance in psychological research, it shows how this mentality can lead to poor decision-making. Using the example of the early days of a business, Netflix initially tried to sell and rent DVDs, but this model did not succeed as expected. Reed Hastings realized that he might be wrong and gradually transformed to streaming media. Giving up overconfidence helps to build a more cooperative and trusting team environment. Mistakes and failures are seen as opportunities to learn rather than final results. This mentality promotes a healthier atmosphere of communication and cooperation. These three ideas together build the foundation for rethinking, which starts with accepting differences, then validating differences, and finally become different. Although the above three methods are very helpful for the growth and development of individuals or organizations in most cases, they are not applicable to all contexts. Cognitive flexibility is not applicable in the highly structured context of military options or emergency management. Military options or emergency management usually require strict discipline, clear command, and quick decision-making. In such situation, the success of the operation often depends on pre-made plans, clear road allocation, and immediate action. Changes may lead to course or optional failure, but it can be more flexible in different situations by evaluating different situations. First, you need to determine the scenario goals, then identify the key factors that affect decision-making, and then build the cooperating scenarios such as daily life in the middle school or emergency management, and determine when more cognitive flexibility is needed and when a more structured way of thinking is needed. Think like a scientist is not applicable in a highly creative artistic environment. If you use the thinking mode of scientists, it will limit artistic creation, and artistic creation often involves highly subjective experience and emotional exploration, which cannot be quantified. However, through multi-dimensional thinking and innovation, interdisciplinary integration is encouraged. For example, combining the emotion and exploration in artistic creation with the verification and data-driven thinking of scientists to explore new ways of creation. Now that we know these three methodologies, how do we apply them to life and study? I will give you 3 suggestions below. Look for information that is contrary to you. In addition to supporting the network, you should also challenge yourself to build a network. Fight real bias by actively seeking out perspectives that challenge your thinking. An easy place to start is by following people who make you think, even if you disagree with their perspectives. Cheerleaders are great, but you also need challenges from your critics, who are the most thoughtful critics around. Once you identify them, invite them to challenge your perspective and telling them in advance why you respect their obscene views and where their options have the most value will ensure they know you are open to different options. And the second is abandoning best practice. Once best practices are in place, the idea posits that, and if you want people to continually rethink the way they work, it's best to have process accountability that drives people to continually pursue better practices. Expanding emotions range to have a practice conservation, you don't have to eliminate feelings of frustration or even anger. Instead, you can add more emotions to the mix. Try showing some curiosity or even acknowledging your conflicting feeling of confusion. To make a brief summary, Think Again encourages readers to break the mindset and cultivate flexibility and open-mindedness. It teaches readers how to adapt to changes more effectively, face mistakes, and continue to learn, so as to succeed in a complex and rapidly changing world. Thanks for listening.